Hello and welcome back to Nerd Alert. I'm your host for this week, Rachel Sielski, and this is the first show of our fall semester here in our brand new studio. Today I'm joined by Will Yocum and Tim Durkin, and we're going to be talking about some exciting blockbusters that have hit movie theaters this summer. I'm going to start off with talking about the movie Barbie. I had the pleasure of seeing it in theaters. I thought it was an alright movie, but not one I think I'd personally see again, and I'm going to start off and send it over to Mr. Tim Durkin. So Tim, what's your opinion of Barbie?
So, as I told you before the show, I didn't actually watch Barbie, but I did see a lot of discourse online. I think it's easily one of the biggest movies that we've had in quite some time, and I saw a lot of discussion about it. And honestly, it seemed pretty mixed. Like, I think there were, just from somebody who didn't watch the movie, I think there were just kind of some political divides with it. It took a certain stance on some issues, and obviously whenever you do that, you're splitting right down the middle and getting some people that agree, some people that vehemently disagree and will hate your movie no matter what. So I think Barbie is definitely kind of an interesting part of our culture now, especially with how it kind of interacted, maybe unintentionally, with Oppenheimer.
I thought the movie overall had a pretty good message, even though it was technically intended to be a comedic sort of movie. I thought it had a good message of knowing how everybody's different and everybody has a purpose, and we're all equal, but we're all unique and special in our own ways. And I really love that, and especially the soundtrack of Barbie is pretty good. The one song by Billie Eilish is one that I'll cry to at 3 a.m. So that's one thing I liked about it. And then, talking about also Oppenheimer was another big cinematic thing that was in movies this past summer. I personally didn't have a chance to see Oppenheimer. Will, did you have a chance to check it out?
No, I'm really upset about that, Rachel. I mean, I was really upset. I was just caught up too much in my internship this past summer to go see it. I got a lot of stuff on it for my, on my TikTok For You page about it, and there were some funny memes coming out about it. I mean, but it looked like a really good movie. I heard it was a very long movie, but I mean, if I can go back to a movie that was also a very long movie, Avengers Endgame, it was 3 hours. The pacing of it did not feel like 3 hours, so I felt like Oppenheimer did the same thing there. Very well shot, very well composed, fantastic cast of people. They had a lot of big name stars that even played smaller roles that people didn't see. So, I mean, as much as I wish to see it, I didn't see it in theaters, but I mean, I would love to see it whenever it comes out on streaming.
Yeah, I definitely think it's one I'll check out when it gets on, any of those streaming apps. When I thought about it at first, because I heard the movie was 3 hours long, I didn't know if I could actually sit through a 3-hour movie, but as you just previously mentioned, Endgame was 3 hours, and I will gladly sit through, if it was 6 hours, any type of Marvel movie. I don't know. Tim, do you feel that way about the Marvel movies, or not as much?
So, with Marvel movies, I think definitely with Phase 3, I was way more invested with Infinity War and Endgame. For our viewers that may not remember or know, the hype surrounding Endgame, and Infinity War as well. I mean, I know you remember well. Yeah. It was just mania out there. You couldn't go anywhere. Iron Man, Captain America were just household names.
Hey, do you remember when Popeyes came out with their chicken sandwich? Remember the hype around that?
Yeah.
Oh, I felt like it was the same thing. And yeah. I'm a big boy myself. I love food. But I can remember that hype was just incredible. And for Endgame, I went with 2 of my closest friends, and just viewing it in theaters was something spectacular. I will say Infinity War probably was still the better movie over Endgame, but for me, Endgame was just solid. It was solid. So don't say that longer movies are terrible because they pace. It's all about pacing.
Yeah.
And Endgame did it flawlessly, and I feel like that's why I brought up Oppenheimer and it being a longer stretch of a film. I think it did fantastic in that as well.
Yeah, I agree. And kind of going back to your question, Rachel, about longer movies, I do like longer movies just because if it's a movie I like, it's just more content to consume. Yeah. My issue, and feel free to laugh at me for this one, my issue, especially in theaters, I'm that guy that gets up to pee in the middle of the movie. I will admit it. I will admit it.
I will say I try to sometimes hold it till the end of the movie, and you can see me kind of just sitting like this in the theater, But I will do my best to try because I never want to miss anything. And that if I do miss something, I'll hate myself and be like, no, why did that have to happen while I was in the bathroom? But I can see your point there.
Wow. Well, I can't believe you two at all. You can't just sit through a movie and enjoy it. You have to get up and move around. You have to go and leave.
Will, you've never gotten up during a movie?
No, never. No.
That's crazy.
Never.
That's crazy.
I'm a champion. I don't have to get
I can
up
see
and
that. I'd say out of the Marvel universe, my most favorite Marvel character, and I was a huge fan of him when I was young. I know you guys are gonna laugh at me when I say this. I loved Spider-Man growing up. I still do technically love Spider-Man. And if I thought about Marvel movies that I think should get another sequel, I felt like the last Spider-Man, I don't know if you guys had the chance to see it, when they had like all the previous Spider-Mans was like a solid, amazing move, because that was like just like crazy, and I loved seeing it. And definitely, I'd say my favorite Spider-Man would be Tobey Maguire, just because he's like the original Spider-Man. But I gotta say, Tom Holland has brought some comedic to Spider-Man, which I love, and he's always made me laugh every Spider-Man movie I've seen with him. So what do you guys think? You think Spider-Man deserves another sequel around? And who would you say is like your favorite Spider-Man? I'm gonna throw it first to you, Tim.
Who wants to go first, you or me?
I'll go first at that one. At this point, like you're talking about Tom Holland, and that's the Peter Parker version of the character. That is the Spider-Man, quintessential. And honestly, I think I really like that Spider-Man. Spider-Man's like my favorite superhero. Not that, there are that many choices in my opinion. Like you have like Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, all the other ones that don't matter.
It's good to know.
In my opinion.
It's good to know I'm not alone with that.
Yeah, but I honestly think that Spider-Man has kind of been oversaturated a little bit, at least the Peter Parker version. I mean, we have games coming out, we have movies coming out, we have shows coming out. I mean, it's just a lot of Spider-Man. What I really enjoy, and it's another version of Spider-Man, I think, Will, you know where I'm going with this. It's Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse. That's with Miles Morales. And he's kind of, he was introduced earlier in the comics, but he's really come into his own with recent media, like Into the Spider-Verse, like the Spider-Man game. I think that was in 2018 that first came out. 2018, 2019.
Are you talking about the original one? Insomniac came. That was 2018. Yep.
Yeah. So he's just been appearing in more things, and honestly, I think I gotta say that I prefer Miles over Peter at this point. I don't know if you two agree.
I could see that, I would say. So you think like the Spider-Verse is better than like the original Spider-Man? Is that what I'm kind of leaning towards here?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I have an inherent bias, I'll admit it right now, for animated movies. I get kind of bored with live action. I think animation is just way more fun and free-flowing and creative, and you can do so much more with it.
Do you kind of agree with that, Will?
I'm a little different in that opinion. I have nothing against Tim's opinion on liking animated movies way more, because I've enjoyed a lot of animated movies in my time. I do prefer live action if shot, better. If shot well, and if shot perfectly, like almost no mistakes, especially when it comes to CGI, which Marvel has been lacking a little bit on. But I mean, I will say that I have thoroughly enjoyed the Spider-Verse movies when it comes to Miles Morales and his story. I've absolutely enjoyed it. It's just been fantastic. The one that just came out recently was one of my favorite. I mean, there's been talks about you go in multiple times and there's some certain scenes that they switch here and there, and it's just the little tweaks there if you notice as a fan, and I think it's just really well done.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. So when we come back, we're going to be talking about sequels on some of our favorite movies. So sit back, do not go anywhere.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Nerd Alert. Today we are doing Woo Tunes.
Woo Tunes.
My name is Luke Andrusik, and this is my partner, Joseph Cirillo, and today we're going to be diving into the Billboard Hot 100, specifically the top 10. At number 10, we have off her latest album, Guts, Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo. Now, this is not my favorite song on this album. I prefer Get Him Back, but this is still a great song. It's a nice, slow, sad song.
It's a great sad song, and it was a single before the album came out earlier in September, or I believe it was October, actually. Yeah. But it's a great song. It's a fabulous song, one of the better off of this album. Moving on, we got Monaco with Bad Bunny. Although it is a little bit harder to understand him, he is a Spanish singer and he is a rapper. It's still a great song. The meaning and the message from this song is perfect, and the beat, of course, can't go wrong with it.
I mean, that's why he's the number one listened to artist in the world. All right, number 8, we have IDGAF from For All the Dogs by Drake featuring Yeet. Now, this song is beautiful. I love Yeet. I love me some Drake, too. Yeet, his verses just go hard in this song, and Drake, he's a good compliment to him. This song is going viral on TikTok. That's probably why it is so high.
I believe so, and I agree with that statement. Moving on from there, we got Morgan Wallen. This is his first of 2 on the top 10 here. Think About Me. It's from his newest album that came a little bit while ago, back in March, I believe.
Yep.
The 30-track album has done swell so far, and this next song coming up has probably been the number one off this album.
Oh yeah, we got Morgan Wallen coming back again. At number 6, we have Last Night by Morgan Wallen. I mean, you can't go wrong with this song.
We cannot.
You can't. No matter what mood you're in, this song is beautiful.
Whether you're sad, whether you're happy, whether you're out having a good time with friends, it's a great song to have in the car, great song to just listen to in your room.
See, I'm not a big country guy, but there's 2 guys I will listen to. Morgan Wallen and the next guy coming up.
And the next guy coming up is Luke Combs with Fast Car. It is a rendition from a song that came back out in the 80s. I forget who it originally came from.
I did too. My mom told me the other day, but I forget.
I forget it as well. But it is a great song, Fast Car. It's fabulous. It's another one of those songs like Last Night that you can just listen to when you're sad, when you're happy with friends, out on a drive on the town, or just in your room.
Car.
In a fast car.
Number 4, we got I Remember Everything by Zach Bryan featuring Casey Musgraves. Now, I have not listened to this song too much, but Zach Bryan, that guy's a G. He is dating Brianna Chicken Fry from Barstool Sports. He's a legend. He got arrested by his girlfriend who was dressed up as a policeman, and he was being arrested for Halloween. So, Zach Bryan, shout out to you, my guy.
Yeah, Zach Bryan's song, it's great. I don't think it's the best off of this album. I'm kind of surprised it's this high up, but nevertheless, still a great song, and Luke Bryan, still great. Going on to number 3, we have Snooze from SZA. Now, I myself have not listened to SZA as much, but this song I have heard, and it's one of my favorite from her. SZA, just a great musical artist all around. You may have heard her from TikTok. She's all over TikTok nowadays. But SZA, Snooze, great song.
I mean, SZA's voice is just beautiful.
It
Amazing. Amazing. And number 2, we have Doja Cat with Paint the Town Red. I mean, this song, no wonder it's number 2.
Took TikTok by storm.
It took TikTok by storm. It is viral. It is an amazing song. I mean, you can't listen to this song and not tap your foot or bob your head. This song is amazing.
It is. And a lot of people thought with its like demonic meanings and stuff, it wouldn't get this popular, but it did the opposite of that. It did everything that people didn't think it would do. It's amazing. I love it. How about you?
I love the song. I love
Great.
it. It's a great. I don't like the demonic meanings, to be honest with you, but like, you can't help but bob your head when you're listening to this song.
True.
It's amazing.
True. And going back to number 1, this isn't an album currently she has out, surprisingly enough, but Cruel Summer with Taylor Swift from her Lover album back in, I believe, 2018, 2019. It's popped off mainly due to her tour, the Eras Tour, and a lot of people have just come to love this song all of a sudden. It wasn't popular when the album came out, but now it's here and it's here to stay. It's been on this top 10 for, I'd say, about a month or 2 so far.
Do you believe that the reasoning it is at number 1 right now is due to her new relationship with Travis Kelce
I don't think
and all
so.
that blowing up?
I don't think so, no, because it's been on the top 100 and it's been on the top 10 for a long time, way before Travis Kelce came into the scene. So I think it's just because of the Eras Tour.
I mean, Taylor is amazing. What can you say about it? I mean,
can't say anything wrong about Taylor, that's
great.
for sure. But that'll do us all here from Woo Tunes. That's Luke Andrusik. I'm Joseph Cirillo, and we're sending it right back to the desk.
Hello and welcome back to Nerd Alert. I'm your host for this week, Rachel Sielski, and I'm joined by Will Yocum and Tim Durkin. So we're switching gears here a little bit. We're going to talk about movies that we believe deserve sequels. So I'm going to start off with, we had talked about before, the movie Mean Girls is getting a sequel that will be coming out in January. And I gotta say, I've seen the original Mean Girls many of times, and I think it should just be kept alone because it's just like a classic that I don't think it really needs a sequel. And I'm gonna throw it over to you first, Tim. I don't know if you've seen the original one or what your opinions are on it, so what do you kind of think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I apologize, but I've never seen the original, so I don't really have any thoughts on that. And because I haven't seen the original, I don't really have many thoughts on the sequel. It just kind of sounds like doing a sequel for the sake of a sequel, getting money, getting brand recognition, just the content machine that is Hollywood at this point.
Now, Will, have you ever seen the original Mean Girls?
Unlike Tim, I'm not a regular panelist. I'm a cool panelist. So,
oh, there we go. Right, this is the cool panelist, Tim.
I have seen the original movie a couple of times. I mean, it was a really good movie. It was solid for the time that it came out. I believe it was 2004 that it came out. So I was 2 years old.
It's like the classic 2000s movie, I think.
Yeah, it was. Lindsay Lohan was the star of that movie, so it was classic 2000s movie. Now, when it comes to making a sequel for it, I agree with Tim. That's just making a sequel for the sake of making a sequel, money grab. And I mean, I understand Lindsay's gone through some stuff. She's starting to bounce back on her own. She's made more of a name for herself. She has a child now. She's married. She's doing well in life right now. So, I understand that this is a good time to make another one, but I don't really see a reason why they should make another one.
like I said, I have to agree with you guys. 'Cause like I said, I think it's a classic. And classic should just like be left alone. No, it doesn't need like have to get another sequel. And that was like I had a pleasure back in September of seeing Expendables 4. I don't know if you're familiar with the Expendables movies, and the only reason I technically wanted to start seeing those was because I'm a big Sylvester Stallone fan. Like, I love the Rocky movies and all that stuff. I think that's a classic movie franchise. But I gotta say, the fourth Expendables, I would agree with you guys, was just made like for the sake of money. You know, you're trying to get another sequel in there. And, you know, I thought the first one was okay. Second one, not too bad. Third one, you know, and fourth one, I mean, come on. And, like, I don't know, when I ask, have you guys ever seen the Expendables films?
No, I have not, but like, I mean, I kind of compare it to the Fast and Furious movies, which is now coming up on what, 11, 15, 20?
Never seen
Oh,
it.
Only saw the first two.
So Expendables,
one.
Fast, Furious, those are two that come to mind where it's like, how much longer are we gonna do this? Like, how many more do we have to do? Vin Diesel, cut it out. Stop. Like, I'm done with Fast and Furious, man. It's just oversaturated. It's just like, oh, cool, cars. They even took the meme about it where they're gonna go to space. They did that in the second to last movie, not the most recent one, the second to last movie. And then they even brought in John Cena after even having The Rock in there for any WWE fans. Now they're taking WWE superstars and throwing them in this universe. It's just, I don't know what's going on. I think after like the third one, after like a trilogy, cut it out. Like, it's done. I don't know how you feel about that. I mean, but
Tim, come on, I can't be the only person that's seen Expendables.
No, I haven't seen Expendables.
Man.
I to be honest, never even heard of it.
Okay. I'll
Never even
I'll
heard of
accept
it.
that.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what genre. I don't know who's directed it. I don't know anybody in it. I don't know what time period.
It's action
It could have
packed.
come out in like the
Just,
1930s for all
One
I
of those
know.
classic action movies with a bunch of action stars, you know.
Sylvester Stallone. Who else is in there?
Yeah,
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jason Statham,
Statham.
Bruce Willis. Was
Like, you're
first
saying
one.
names that they're registering, but I've
Can't put
never
it
seen
together. I know, but like, so like, take like Die Hard, Fast Furious, take all these high action paced movies,
Okay.
take Terminator, put it
Okay,
together.
all movies I haven't
Yes.
seen,
Put
but
it-
yeah.
Pretty much.
No.
Yeah, all
okay,
movies
now
I
I
haven't
can't.
seen.
Oh,
All right.
oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Have you at least seen any like Stallone movies?
Like Rocky.
I've seen like a little bit of Rocky 5, which I've heard is very bad, and I can agree with
See,
that.
I didn't think Rocky 5 was like totally terrible. Like, I thought it was all right and the soundtrack was good, but I'd say the best one is like the original classic Rocky, because I mean, you can't beat it.
I've heard
It's-
that's a very good movie. I want to see it eventually.
Yes, yeah, I thought it was really good. It was crazy that they had like a little money making that and it ended up like being so big, and I feel like it's a really iconic movie, you know, when they're talking about it in pop culture today. And I've heard that the best Rocky was Rocky 4, just around the time period that circled it. I don't know, Will, do you kind of agree with that? Or?
I must break you. Yes, with Ivan Drago. Yeah, it was a very solid movie. My dad was a massive Rocky fan, so he did show me around the Rocky films. Like, I don't remember like the plot that I remember the most was Rocky 4. The other ones, you know, hit or miss. That's in my opinion. I think the first Rocky was iconic in its own. Rocky 4 that's a perfect. Rocky 4 would have been the perfect sequel. Like the other two, like 2 and 3,
I've heard like 2 is kind of just like a repeat of number 1, because like, you know, he fights the same person again.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
And so it's I don't know, but once they got to 4 and took around the time period around there and the Cold War and everything, I think that was very well done.
Absolutely. So like, do you think, as you know, like they had the movie, the 6th one, which came out in like 2006, I thought that was kind of like pointless, you know? I mean, you had to have him fighting another person at the what age he is, and now they've had the Creed movie franchise, which is like basing off of that. I thought the first Creed was pretty good, and you know, the second one was all right, but the third one, I feel like, you know, I heard Sylvester Stallone wasn't even involved in that, and I feel like Creed's just kind of, in some ways it is good, but in a lot of ways it's just almost a repeat of Rocky. I mean, it's kind of the same concept, and like a lot of things are similar towards it.
I'm going to kind of disagree. I think Creed was actually fantastically well done. I think it was a soft reboot of the series, which, I mean, yeah, you had a ton of Rocky movies going into it, but I mean, it's just a soft reboot, and then their choice of not having Sylvester Stallone in the most recent Creed movie, I think, was actually perfect. I mean, this movie is around Creed. He's now taken the mantle from Rocky. He's now made his own. He's the world champion, so he's got to do it on his own. He doesn't need Rocky's help anymore. And Rocky was going through some health issues in the second Creed movie as it was. So I think it was actually really well done.
Tim, are you familiar with the Creed movies at all? Heard about them?
Well, stop me if you've heard this one before, but haven't seen it.
I didn't know if you had heard about it.
I've seen
maybe.
trailers.
Yeah.
Familiar?
That's
Okay.
about as close as I've gotten. No.
Take the trailers. Okay. Thinking about it, I would say one of my favorite movies. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this. It's a movie from the 90s. It's been like acclaimed as one of like a really great movie. The movie The Shawshank Redemption. It's, I think, a fantastically cinematic movie. And I've always been a huge fan of it. And I think it would be really cool to maybe get a sequel for that, because I think it could do really well if they included like some of the same actors and like the same concept. And I can see by you're laughing, you have not seen it.
Tim.
Don't look at me.
Tim.
Don't look at me.
Okay.
I haven't
Can't
seen it.
Tell me you have not seen one of the greatest movies of all time.
I stick to animated movies.
Tim. Oh my goodness.
We were just talking about this before the break. Tell us
Yes.
the sequel that you wanted to see with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay, yeah. So the sequel that I want to see personally. So I am a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. Love the franchise. Grew up with it. TMNT 2003. That was the one I grew up with. Loved it. In 2018, they came out with a series called Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Everybody hated it. They thought it was dumb. They thought it was just like comedic and not as serious as some of the other shows. I really liked it, but because the general audience did it, they killed the show, and they came out with a movie last summer to kind of like cap it off. That movie is one of the best movies I have ever seen in my entire life for no reason. They just decided to go off with it. So for my dream sequel, and I do mean dream because it never happening. Like this show, this cast is just never coming back. That it would be a sequel to that movie. I don't care how they do it, but I just want more of Rise of the TMNT. And that's not saying that the newest movie, TMNT Mutant Mayhem, which I saw day one and saw it twice over the summer, not saying that movie is bad, because it's not. It's fantastic. I just personally connect with Rise a little bit more.
Fair enough.
I like that too. Okay. When we come back, we're going to be talking about who we would put on our all-star cast for a blockbuster film. Hello and welcome back to Nerd Alert. I'm your host for this week, Rachel Sielski, and today I'm joined by Will Yocum and Tim Durkin. So over the break, we were talking about who we would put on our all-star cast roster for a nice blockbuster film. And when I was thinking about mine, I think you can pretty much expect I'm definitely putting Sylvester Stallone on my roster. He's one of my favorite actors, and I could see that hopefully be in a big movie. And if I were also thinking about other actors I'd put on there, I would definitely throw in Ryan Reynolds because, I mean, Deadpool, and I have a huge celebrity crush on him as well. And I would also throw in Jason Statham, you know, get the good action stars. And I think my plot of the film would be a big, like, explosion overseas, and I'm like, Sylvester Stallone is my long-lost grandfather, and we're gonna go and like save this, and hopefully it would do well in theaters. And I know I'm gonna get laughed at for saying this, and I know Tim is probably looking at me like I'm crazy. So I'm gonna send it over. I mean, Tim, what's your like dream for a blockbuster film?
So first of all, it's got to be animated. I'm not budging on that
I
one.
can predict that.
I am not budging on that one. It's got to be animated. That's where my passion is for movies. It's in animation.
So it would definitely be animated.
Yeah, it would definitely be animated. However, if it needed to be live action, then okay, sure. The actors that I would put in, after seeing The Batman, I gotta put in Robert Pattinson. I think he is a fantastic actor. I've actually seen, oddly enough, a lot of movies with him in it. I saw the original Twilight. That is one of the greatest comedies ever made, and you will never sway my opinion on that. I love that movie. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times. I saw The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. Fantastic. That is a fantastic movie. It's not one that like I connected with as much, but I think the two of them together would really make for another good film. So we can toss Willem Dafoe in there. I mean, I think he's a fantastic actor. He's been doing it for like decades at this point.
I'm going to interrupt you for a sec. Talking about Twilight, were you, I mean, I just have to ask this, Team Edward, Team Jacob? Which one were you?
Man, so I actually read the books as well. I read all of them, not like the new ones where it's like from Edward's perspective or something. I read the original 4, and I didn't like them very much, but I did have a team. I was Team Jacob all the way because I didn't hate him immediately. I liked him for about like 10, 20 pages. And Edward I hated from the first line he said. So I was Team Jacob all the way.
I was Team Jacob as well. So because I was figuring you were going to say Team Edward, but I was definitely Team Jacob. I mean, Taylor Lautner, come on. You know what I'm saying. Okay, Wills, you've had some time hearing of us. I mean, what are you thinking here?
I want Denzel Washington in my movie somewhere in there. I'm a big action guy. I'm also a big live action guy, and Denzel Washington, he's just something else. I want Leonardo DiCaprio. He is he's such a wide range of an actor. He can do one thing and then switch up to another thing. He's played so many different characters from there was a movie called What's Eating at Gilbert Grape. He was in that movie. He played someone with a mental disability so well. It was just hard to tell that he didn't have one himself, but he played that to a certain degree. And then there's Django, where he plays a slave owner, which I don't know how he goes from one aspect to another. And then he's in Titanic, he's in blockbuster movies like that. His wide range of acting skills is absolutely phenomenal. And so Leo DiCaprio, Denzel Washington. See, this is where I need your help, Tim. I think we need to come together and make a movie.
Okay.
If you want to keep it animated, that's fine. All I ask for voice acting wise, I want Mark Hamill in there.
Mark Hamill.
His
Okay,
Joker,
yeah, I can
his
work
Joker
with
was
that.
fantastic.
Yeah. Mark Hamill's
Okay.
a great voice actor.
All right, so Robert Pattinson, Denzel Washington, Leo DiCaprio, Mark Hamill. What are we doing? What are we thinking?
Okay, so if we're doing an animated movie, we have to decide the genre first.
Yep.
So are we thinking like action? Are we thinking like more of a grounded story that's kind of like a drama? Like
Drama, comedy, romantical, horror.
Oh, okay. So it's trying to go for like all these angles, trying to please the masses.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, trying to check every box. Which
Check every
works
box.
every time.
So you gotta
in
have
movies.
like some comedy in there, you know.
We need a female.
All that
We
good
need a
stuff.
couple female leads as well.
Oh man.
Who are we thinking?
I don't know that many female actors. I know like the big ones like
Charlize Theron. I think she's really good.
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson, an older celebrity crush of mine, by the way.
I'd put her in my movie if I needed a
man.
female actor.
Who
Yep.
else?
Yep.
Yeah, but I agree. We need more female actors.
Florence
in there.
Pugh, she's been a recent
Yeah,
favorite of mine.
she's really
been a
good.
very recent
She's
favorite
really
of mine. Midsummer, the Marvel movies as well. She's been fantastic for me.
Yeah.
So what was
Yeah.
the
So we have our actors,
Yep.
both male and female.
Yeah, who's directing?
Who's directing? Oh man. I mean, let's just shoot for the moon. Scorsese.
Scorsese? Ooh,
I
was
Yeah.
thinking
That is
Tarantino.
crazy.
Ooh, that's
you
also
threw
a
in
good one.
Scorsese. I
Scorsese.
am a huge fan of Scorsese films, and I was actually just thinking about that, so it's really funny that you say that. I feel like, Leonardo DiCaprio has been in a ton of Scorsese films, and I just love
Five.
Knows the actor.
Yes.
Knows the actor.
Yes, I
Knows
just
who,
love,
knows who he's working with.
love the premise of all Scorsese films. I think they're really good, and they've done really well. Do you kind of agree with that, Will?
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
if you've seen any.
Scorsese is one of the most top listed directors of all time. One of my favorite directors though, like other than Scorsese, would have to be Quentin Tarantino. I
he's
love
great.
his films. His films,
yeah.
like I just mentioned, Django. Django is one of my all-time favorite movies. I mean, Jamie Foxx did fantastic in that film as well, alongside Samuel L. Jackson, who is a regular in Tarantino films as well. Like Samuel L. Jackson's another actor we need in that movie. I'm sorry, I think he's just he's another well-rounded actor.
Well, I actually just thought of something. If we're doing this animated,
Yep.
I was just trying to think of different animated director, and it's kind of difficult. But then I thought of something.
Ah.
There is an animated director out there that is very, very highly acclaimed.
Yeah.
You may have heard of him before.
Yeah.
Hideo Miyazaki from the Studio Ghibli movies.
I've
So
not.
if we're doing an animated
Something
movie
new.
and it's like this action, horror,
Yeah.
comedy, romance thing,
Yep.
if there's a one man who can put it all together, it is Hideo Miyazaki. He does not miss this
The thing is, do you think you would do this animated through Disney, or do you think it'd be like too much
I'm not
for
doing
Disney?
Disney.
Or-
I'm
Yeah,
not touching
yeah.
Disney.
I don't like the mouse.
No,
Uh,
touching
we'll
Disney.
we'll just
Oh,
skip Disney
okay.
Nope,
altogether.
indie film.
Yes,
Indie animated
yes.
with all the high-rated actors and one of the greatest animated directors of all time.
We're
Yeah.
not doing Disney.
Nope, no Disney for me.
I think a good famous director that I definitely would include, because he's had a lot of hits, and I think I like how he gets creative with his movies, is Baz Luhrmann.
Baz Luhrmann.
You ever heard of him? I had the pleasure of seeing in theaters, not this past summer, the summer before, of Elvis, with Austin Butler, because I'm a big Elvis fan, I'll admit it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how kind of the different creative way he took to it, like adding, art imitating life, and like I've seen his depiction of Romeo and Juliet, and I thought that was really good too. And I don't know if you've seen any Larman films, but like I said, I love how he includes like the creativity and kind of gives it that extra, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like spoof. Like, do you kind of agree with that, Will?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen like some of his movies, but I get what you're saying. I mean, that's all you need is like you need a director that has a creative mind, that has like a drive and a passion of what he's doing and what he's filming. You need the actors that can be behind him. A great sign of a great movie is having a director that has a great chemistry and relationship with the actors that he's casting. That's why you see a lot of these great directors cast some of the same people for different roles, but they play them so well because there's so much chemistry there. And so, I completely agree with you right there.
Good, yeah. I don't even know if I should ask you this, but Tim, have you seen any Larman films?
I would say the easy answer would be no.
Okay.
But maybe I've seen
anyway.
one of them and I just didn't know the director. That is very likely. I don't know what some of his movies are.
Like, well, we had like I'd mentioned Romeo and Juliet. He did Elvis, like Moulin Rouge. The ones that I can only kind of think of that are coming to mind right now.
That's not ringing a bell.
Yeah, it's not like a certain genre that he kind of sticks to. He just kind of like takes classic. Well, so Elvis was not really a classic movie. He was a classic person, very talented person. He just took that biopic and kind of just like made a story out of it. Obviously, as with the other two movies she mentioned, they take original classics and then made his own spin-off with it, but kept with the same theme. He just changed it a tad bit.
Interesting.
Now, I know you guys said you wouldn't. I'm a sucker for Disney films, especially Disney Pixar. So, I mean, I think I definitely watch your film, but my most favorite Disney Pixar film is going to have to be, I mean, it's a classic, The Incredibles. I think it's easily one of the best Disney Pixar films, and like I said, and I thought the sequel to that was pretty good. Like, you know how some sequels flub? I thought Incredibles 2 actually wasn't that bad. I mean, they made it many years after the original one, and I actually didn't think it was that bad. I don't know, do you guys kind of agree with that? Or?
I'll do you one better over what the answer you just gave. I'm going with Nemo. I think I'll put Nemo
Nemo's
over.
good.
I put Nemo over Incredibles.
I'm a
I
Nemo fan.
love The Incredibles. I love Toy Story and Pixar. I love a lot of Pixar movies,
Story.
but I'm putting Nemo ahead of that. Nemo was just
Do you think the Toy Story sequels have kind of like
they're
added
over?
on,
Nope.
or they've
Yeah,
been
after
filmed?
3, that's when
After
the
the third
series
one.
ended. The 4th doesn't exist, and the 5th
Andy
that's
drove
coming
away.
out doesn't exist.
Andy went bye-bye to college. His toy sitting on the porch. So long, partner. That's it. That's where they stopped. Now they're just milking it. Now they're getting more money out of it. I mean, sequels they're mainly missed than hit, and it's because Hollywood is just looking for the money and not for actual plot-driven characters. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I gotta agree. Like when you go off to college, that should be kind of like the end of a series or movie, like movie series. So, yeah, I agree with that. Well, thank you for tuning in. This has been the first show of Nerd Alert, and I can't wait for many more here this semester with our new studio. So, thank you all so much, and we will be back next Friday.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.